Hi there, and welcome to the Coffee with Christine and Goose show. I'm your host, Christine DeGennaro, and I'm joined by my pet duck named Goose. Together, we're here to motivate and inspire you with uplifting daily messages. Grab a cup of tea or coffee, and let's get started with your daily dose of love and caffeination. Hello and good morning, everyone. Hello. Today is February 28th, 2023. I'm your host, Christine DeGennaro, and today's episode of the Coffee with Christine and Goose show is the sensitive guide to putting yourself first. And let me start off by saying that this has been such an incredible journey. The more that I learn about myself, the more that I want to share with you. And it's more so I'm sharing messages that I know I need to hear myself. And so at one point, I decided, actually, it was not too long ago, that I decided that I'm going to put these messages out there. And they're going to be short, they're going to be sweet, they're going to be to the point, and they're just going to allow me to not only speak to myself, to give myself daily gentle reminders, but to do the same for you. And if you're here and you're listening and you like it, make sure you love it, share it, follow it. This is just to motivate. And if no one hears it, that's okay. If the whole world hears it, that's even better. But these are love letters to myself. And I'm doing this here for me. My messages, I want them to be heard. So that all being said, we are going to dive on into today's topic. But first coffee. Let me know what you guys are sipping. My sister gave me this mug for Christmas one year. It's don't let anyone dull your sparkle. And I feel like this is just the perfect mug to use today. It's the more I learn about myself, the more I uncover, the more I understand who I am is a connector. Who I am is someone who wants to share their message to the world. Whether the world hears it or not, that's a whole different thing. But day by day, I'm going to put a message out there. And if it speaks to you, it speaks to you. If it doesn't, then that's okay. But it's on my heart to share what's on my heart. And I'm going to do that. So it's all about being true. Today's the sensitive guide to putting yourself first. So I love your contenders as women, as people who are here on this planet. We all are here on a mission. We are all here to experience life to the fullest. And we forget that sometimes. As we go through today, I always like to pull a tarot card, to allow us to find a different perspective on how to approach the topic that we're approaching today. So today's card is Five of Swords, which represents thoughts and change, tension. There's tension building in some areas of your life that are just not leaving you happy. And so something has to shift. And this is where it all starts. It starts within yourself. And again, all my messages are messages for others to hear, but they're reminders, daily reminders for myself too. So today is all about loving and connection and remembering yourself in the process, being gentle with yourself in the process, because we're all here on a learning journey and we're learning about ourselves. So as we dive in today, we're going to make a few things with us. We're going to understand isn't a bad thing, but with the Five of Swords, it represents our ability to speak and to communicate. And so what areas are you not vocalizing change that needs to happen? And that's going to be something that hopefully allow you to carry forward today, if something you have to speak up about it. Okay. So, on this path of self discovery, some of the things that I've learned when I was a young teenager, I regrettably put my parents through grief. As a parent now myself, I can't imagine the hardship and the heartbreak that I put my parents through. And I was rebelling from an early age. I was given guidance and I was given structure and I was given being told what to do, and not in a bad way, but we had structure and we had routine. And as a teenager, I fought so hard against that structure and routine. And to the point where it damaged the relationship that I had with my parents for a while. But ultimately, that battle between the structure and the discipline and then the rebellion against it, I ended up over course correcting. And as a young adult, I became an absolute people pleaser. And there was nothing wrong. That was what put me into self preservation. I had to repair the relationship with my parents. So, to be able to do that, I had to take a step back and understand that my actions hurt people. And I didn't like hurting people. It hurt my heart to hurt them. So by overcorrecting, it was I put myself in a position where other people's feelings became important. Other people's feelings became my top priority. And I won't apologize for that. And I'm not going to do anything to substantially correct that. However, the one thing that I have to allow a certain filter to be put in place. And I'll get into that in just a little bit. But understanding your strengths and understanding your weaknesses and understanding who you are at your core is imperative to you being able to put yourself first. And over the years, I became a retail store manager, not for one, but two stores. And I uncovered the fact that being a retail manager, being in a management position is a very difficult position for me. It's not natural to me. I'm a very natural born follower. I'm happy to engage. And if it doesn't feel right, I will step back. But I'm not a natural born leader. And so that has been a very eye opening shift. I need that structure and guidance that I had when I was growing up. And it's nice to have someone to give me a basic structure of this is what you should do. But guaranteed, if you tell me this is what I need to do, I'm going to rebel against it. Because being true to myself, I have to do what's right. And if it doesn't feel, I'm not going to absorb or connect with it. Does that make sense? So when we start figuring ourselves up, when we start figuring ourselves out, we start understanding what makes us tick, what triggers us into a reaction versus introvertism, what causes us to pull back. When you step into a role that is uncomfortable, one of the things that I've learned is that for myself, I can't do it alone. And there are a lot of people who don't have that self plan or that absolute drive to do it alone complete. There are some that can. I know that there's someone very, very close to me who is just completely content with being isolated, completely content with doing things on their own and not getting the input of other people, just figuring it out as they go along. And they pride themselves in that. However, there are some people like myself where we might need a little bit of extra push. We might need that a little bit of accountability because that's what we grew up with. We grew up with that accountability. We grew up with a circle. And this is my tip to you today. All right. If you're coming from a standpoint of you are a people pleaser, you are a caretaker, you put yourself last, you know you put forward. What want you to do is understand that putting yourself first isn't selfish. It is honestly your only chance of being true to yourself. When you forget, when you get lost in a relationship, in a job, in a parenthood is a great one to lose yourself in. They start calling you mom instead of by your name, right? You start losing yourself in these life transitions, and that's okay. But the thing is, we don't notice it until all of our time we're told, hey, you've changed and you've changed significantly. And sometimes you don't change for the, and that's because you've lost yourself. And it has been such a gradual process of conditioning and adapting to not only what you think is right, but other people's in the process. So this tip is for you to build your circle of people. Don't let you forget you are. So that looks like family. That starts with your family. It starts with those closest to you. But it's important for us to also understand that family doesn't always know how to support you. Those closest to you don't always know what you need and how you need it. And instead of maybe discouraging you, they don't say anything. There's no support. And that's okay. That's where you start building your outer circle. You start finding friends who are like-minded. So if you're a mom and you're exhausted, build a circle of friends who are moms who also get it. Maybe you guys can trade off watching the kids every other day, or play dates and alternate play dates, and find ways to build your circle with people who can support you. This looks like this in entrepreneurship, getting involved in masterminds, getting involved in networking events and meetings. And as an introvert, I'll be honest, that scares the absolute crud out of me, because having to open myself up, having to network with people that I normally wouldn't network with, and some high powered people, it's terrifying. But at the same time, my dad used to say this, and I don't know where he heard it. I'm sure he heard it from some amazing guru, because he was always listening to self-improvement tapes. Surround yourself with the top 5 people that you want. And that looks like business partners. That looks like coaches, that looks like counselors. You know, that's another thing that I will always encourage. If you are struggling and you are having a hard time handling things, or you're overwhelmed, or you feel lost, get signed up with a counselor, get signed up with a therapist, get signed up with someone who can give you tools to support you. And when I say support, I don't mean they're going to feed and clothe and nurture you, which is nice. And it's good to have that type of support if you need it. Um, but I'm talking about the people who can be there for you emotionally, who can be there for you mentally, who know that there are just days where you just need to sit, and there are other days that you need to cry to. And if there are people who are not filling that need in one area, it's okay, necessary for you to build that in another area. A good example for me would be my significant other has gone stuff, and there is a lack of emotional availability. And instead of asking him to change, instead of expecting him to change, I find that emotional support from my mom, from my friend Janice. And I get that emotional need when I'm feeling sad or I'm feeling overwhelmed. I know I can go to these people and be myself with them and get the support and the encouragement that I need, that I know that right now my partner doesn't have the emotional capacity to do that. And not asking someone to change for you, not asking someone to put themselves in a position to have to change for you, But you need to know your strengths. You need to know your weaknesses, but you also need to know what you need. And you need to know where you can find that. And so that there's a practice that I usually like to do that helps me get clear on who I have in my life that allows me, one, to be self, two, gives me the checks that I need to be living a fulfilling life. And if you guys want to talk about that, or if you guys want to get a workbook on that, just let me know. And I am putting together a few resources, a few free resources for that. And then that way, you guys have a little bit of something. I came up with that on the fly. So we're going to be putting that on as a work in progress. All right. So here's the thing. It's not selfish for you to put yourself first. In fact, you need to know how to put yourself first, because that's what makes everything else fall into place around you. And I am a prime example of getting lost. I am a prime example of feeling insignificant at times. There are times and there are days where you just can't, you don't feel like you have it together. And those are the days that you can reach out to someone to fill your cup. However, it's also good to know what you can do on your own, because you might not always be able to reach out to those people. So make sure you have something that you can do too that is going to fill that cup for you. We are loving people. We are here for a reason. A lot of us don't know the reason, and some of us do know our reasons. Mine is to be here every day and sharing love, putting out love. And when we step into ourselves and we find ourselves, it might push some people away and it might bring others in. And whatever, being comfortable with yourself allows you to be okay with whatever that is, whatever that means, whatever that feels like. It's necessary to put yourself first, to grow, to remember who you are. So, gentle reminder, if you are feeling lost, if you're feeling overwhelmed, if you're feeling like just you don't have it together, one, you're not alone. We all feel like that at least at some point in our lives, if not currently. And two, reach out for help, whether it's a counselor, a therapist, a coach, a mentor, a friend, a family member, whoever you have in your corner, whoever you have in your life that you can reach out to. Make sure you're communicating with them and make sure that you are allowing them to help you tap into who you are. They're going to be the people who help you remember who you are when you forget. Best advice, build your circle. If you don't know where to start, you guys can reach out to me in my email. We have some special links below. And, I'm here to chat if you guys are up for it. I'm here to inspire you. I am here to remind you that you are so loved. You are so important. You are cherished for all that you are. You don't have to change to be someone different, but you have to push yourself to be just a little bit better than yesterday. But above all, I want you to remember to go and live with passion. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you tomorrow.